Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hang out with these nerds.
Nathan Nerdarch.
Nerdarchy Ted.
And our patrons have spoken, and this is the character they want us to build for you. Hey guys, jump down the description below where you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter, game weekly tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
All right, so we did a poll, or
A series of
polls over on our Patreon.
Didn't tell them what it was all about.
Did not warn them, and we had them pick a race, a class, a background. So here it is, our character build, totally inspired by our awesome patrons.
Okay, so yes, if you want to take part in cool polls and Patreon discussions, you can support us over there. Even as little as $1 a month will do it.
Indeed.
They also get to post questions ahead of time for the live chats that you're doing Monday through Friday, right?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Absolutely. So let's get
Number one. So what was the first poll you did?
Well, I figured we do it in order. Because you're born, your race is determined, then you get a background, then you get a class.
Okay.
So, our first place for race, your favorite, the Dwarf.
The master race.
So, all right, we've got Dwarf. I'm like, all right, let's throw it out to background. And they came out as Outlander. And I'm like, all right. So, knowing full well of me doing this, I'm like, we've got a Dwarf and an Outlander. These things don't usually, go well together to my viewpoint. Let's see where they go for class. And they totally picked Rogue.
Nice.
So I'm like, all right, we've got this weird triangle.
So we have a Dwarven rogue with the Outlander background.
Hill
Right.
Dwarf or Mount Dwarf?
Wow.
You get to pick that?
We get to pick that part.
Oh,
now,
that's good.
Now, if you're gonna go in the wilds, do you want to be a Hill Dwarf or do you want to be a Mountain Dwarf?
I'd say Hill Dwarf, but you are an Outlander, so I don't know.
Well,
I guess a roguely sort would be an Outlander of either society for the most part.
The question is, how much armor do you want to wear?
Hmm.
Because a mountain dwarf will give you medium armor, and not all medium armor gives you disadvantage on your
Stealth.
Your stealth checks is one thing. The other thing is,
The question is how much dex you want to have, I guess.
No, this is not a Dex character.
you can't have more than a +2 starting out. So right then and there, you're already limited, right? Now that doesn't mean you can't go higher later, but the +2 dex plus the armor, it kind of like balances out, and the dex is going to be used for other things as well.
Yeah.
Whenever you build like this off kilter kind of character, like you're never going to have like great stats, right? They're going to be. I feel like the best thing you can do is go for the middle of the road stats and kind of be better all around.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have some ideas for this character, and from earlier editions of D&D and like world building and stuff, I came up with this concept of the tunnel runner.
Right.
And this is the Dwarven Ranger, Dwarven Scout, right? Outlander Rogue tells me he's some kind of scout probably or a sniper.
Yeah.
Well, there is the Unearthed Arcana archetype for Rogue called Scout.
Yes.
So this is
I
where
don't know if I necessarily go there. I mean, I kind of like. So here's why. I might even just go assassin, just because like I like the story behind these guys is like dwarves are always like locked in these little wars that most of the world probably don't even know about. I'm like, we're dwarves. This is what we do. Like they're dwarves. They don't air their dirty laundry out in public. They suffer in silence. They just take care of what they gotta take care of. So like they're constantly probably in these wars underground with goblins and orcs and dark elves and anything else that they happen to disturb because they've delved too deep.
like
Never delve too deep.
Like the other dark dwarven races.
Yeah, possibly.
Darrow,
So-
Dorgar.
So they send out tunnel runners. These are their scouts. These are the guys that are troubleshooting, finding the areas to stay away from, finding the ambushes.
Yes, troubleshooting. They find trouble and they shoot it.
Yeah, exactly. That's where the assassin build might come in. So the thing about a mountain dwarf is one, more armor. Okay, that's not going to hurt us because we're not going to have a 16 dex anyway.
Right.
Starting out. So we can take advantage of a 14 fairly easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives us more options. We have more weapon options. We can have axes, we can have hammers in addition to all the rogue weapons. Granted, we're going to want some missile weapons or some finesse or is it finesse or light? Either one works.
Both light
Either
or
one,
finesse.
For your sneak attack. But I also see like this guy maybe uses a crossbow.
Yeah, I see him as a crossbow wielder.
right? And that definitely works for your using, your sneak attack. And the idea is probably to shoot them before they can see you. That would be the assassinate ability.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of more like a sniper than anything.
So would he be taking ash and blacking his armor?
Oh yeah, probably, absolutely.
So a survivalist sniper for these Dwarven
Yeah,
wars.
you probably, and I see these guys as being, although they serve a really important role in Dwarven society, they're probably looked down upon and frowned upon because they're considered unsavory, maybe even of questionable honor, even if it's not even true, just because of what they do. They, in some of their stuff, they're very undwarf like.
Right.
Well, I mean, they're not carrying the shield with the emblazoned with the emblem of the people on it.
Yeah, so like, they're striking from the shadows. They're loners.
Well, they probably have the stealthy feet.
They might have the stealthy feet from the UA. Who knows?
And I would say later on to get have advantage and get that have the advantage of having that higher dex eventually. I could see them taking the medium armor mastery. I believe that lets you use up to +3 for dex,
Oh yeah, it does make you better.
and I think it gives you a plus to dex as well.
Yeah.
So
So-
you can start
so-
to move up.
Yeah, so what I would probably do is I would dump charisma. My second lowest strength, I'd probably throw in strength because, and the other thing too is dwarves don't have a requirement for armor. They ignore the strength requirements, and I don't think medium armor has them anyway, so it won't
No, they
even
don't.
matter.
Which is why Relian can wear half plate.
But you can throw a 12 in your strength, and a 10 in your strength. You still get a +1 modifier, and that's your two lowest. My next stat that I might dump
Intelligence.
is intelligence, which is going to give me a +1.
Yes.
Yeah, not
Okay.
bad.
And then my next lowest stat would probably be wisdom, and that's going to give us a +1 as well. So-
Why not charisma?
Charisma was the 8.
That we already dumped.
Oh,
charisma.
already dumped charisma.
That was the first thing to
sorry.
go.
Oh,
So 8 charisma, 12 strength, which was originally a 10.
Mhm.
Then we have
oh.
another 12 goes into intelligence. So now we have the 15, 14, 13.
We can drop the 13. Drop the 13 in. Maybe drop the 13 in con.
13's going to con, so that goes to a 14.
No, it goes to a 15.
Is it 2 to
Yeah.
con?
Yes.
Oh, that's right, because Mountain
Mountain
Dwarf's
Dwarf.
2 and 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that leaves us
We
with
said the 14 was going to go into
I'd put it.
Dex.
I'd put it in. I'd put the 15 into
Dex.
because when you can take the feat for being armor, it'll bump you to the 16.
Okay.
and then you put a 14 in wisdom, and wisdom's going to be really important to you for perception.
Yes.
And now, so now I'm going to go a little I would go a little non-conventional with my expertises, and I would put them in perception, and I would put them in knowledge nature.
Okay.
I feel like these guys need to know about
What's out there?
what's going on, how to avoid natural hazards, how to lead their quarry into natural hazards.
Now, when
Make
that
them
kinds
fight a
of
bear
stuff.
somehow.
as a rogue, they get further expertise. Eventually, would you be putting the next one in stealth?
I would probably put the next one in stealth, and then maybe survival.
Or would you, because rogues get the second most number of feats, would you opt to not do that and to use the Unearthed Arcana and get stealthy?
I don't know. Like, I feel like for the character builds, maybe we just stick with
The
the
core stuff.
core stuff,
All right.
and not worry about that as much.
So how about traps? You think he's into traps?
Yeah. But like, I feel like if you got thieves tools, you can kind
Yeah.
of make traps. Like, you already have that skill. Maybe even for the dwarves get brewing, mason, or smith tools.
Okay.
So why not trade one of those out for trap making tools?
Yeah.
I mean, I would allow it as the GM. I'd be like, this fits with the flavor of the character.
You could also say smithing tools can be tooled towards making specific types of
Between
things.
thieves' tools and smithing tools, you probably can figure something out.
Yeah, and you already have the ability to disarm traps and stuff like that. Also, you're an outlander, so you're traveling underground, and you're able to gather natural resources
As
for
you
the
go.
party as you go with no problems at all. So I feel like these actually work together much better than you think. It's just not your conventional dwarf or rogue.
Yeah, I had played a non-conventional rogue before where I played a Goliath rogue, and it was really enjoyable. So I could see this dwarf being really cool to play.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have any other ideas how you might build this character?
Well, I was looking at him as being a scout, as his as his archetype,
Mhm.
and it could be because, all right, there's wars underground, but that's not to say that there isn't stuff going on above the surface, and every dwarf needs to go out and, or every group has to be able to have people going out and knowing the lay of the land. You can't trust those humans; they don't have beards all the time. So I was looking at it as, okay, well, what if we went with the hill dwarf, who got more hit points, who got the better wisdom to be able to have that better perception, and you could go that route.
You want to make the dwarven version of eyes?
No,
I
no,
swear, I gotta interrupt. I swear you said beer all the time.
beard,
No,
beard.
And I'm like, yeah,
that
that's
can
right.
be accurate too. Those humans don't have
That's-
beer all the
yeah.
time.
There's two
Can't
reasons:
trust them.
beers and beards. Those dirty humans.
Yeah, yeah. So did you have anything that was a little bit any different than
So,
what we were talking about?
I was
or-
thinking more far afield than you were talking about with the tunnel runner, kind of as like more of a saboteur. So I was thinking about going like the true thief.
Oh, okay,
archetype,
like yeah.
where you're like more nimble than any dwarf really should be.
Second story work with a dwarf.
Yeah, second story work.
It wounds my soul somewhere.
Because there's some big places, it's
Mm-hmm.
even in the beneath the Underdark, there are some high places that you.
No,
can fall from.
like that being said, it does make sense because really, second story work would be really useful, like for climbing cliffs and
Yeah.
and things like that, and spelunking and other things. Yeah, you're right, absolutely.
So I see not using the scout, but using the thief as scout, saboteur, when he has to, shooting a guard.
Maybe a sapper.
Yeah, so
Too,
sapper. Yeah.
yeah.
So that all those kind of things combined, and I think between trap making, like the idea of having smith tools you can, and thieving tools you can deconstruct things that other people are setting up, or between stone work and smith tools and other things you could, maybe loosen a keystone here or there, set it just right so that when you're getting chased and you run through, you can kind of kick it aside or something, or knock something loose, and it's going to fall on the people behind you. So giving yourself ins and outs to places that normally a dwarf's not going to be seen.
Right, and it also like we didn't even touch on stone cutting, which totally makes sense for what you're saying as well as they could actually literally be a mason as well.
Yeah.
Maybe don't kick it as they run by, like they dive through the tunnel, roll,
Nice.
slide on their back, and they shoot it out of its place with the
Yeah.
crossbow.
Or,
So doing things that aren't really dwarven, like
hit it with their hammer on the way out
yeah,
with a tear as they break the stonework and run.
dropping the bridge behind them or whatever.
Yeah. So I can see that saboteur, getting in and out of places they're not, kind of, but not really. They could be the front and the back of an attack. Messing with supply lines, breaking bridges.
Absolutely. I actually think dwarves work really good for rogue characters, like safe crackers and different kinds of things. Is when you add the Outlander background in there, that gets a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But even then, it's weird. Like all armies need scouts, and also, I feel like even for mining expeditions, like that actually falls into place as well. Like you need an expert to go out and do the surveying and stuff like that. And Underdark's dangerous anyway, so you should probably have some kind of class levels,
Absolutely.
or you're gonna have to move around with a small army.
Yeah.
So instead there's that. So what do you guys think? How would you build this character? Did we do it to spec or not? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check out Funny Memes over on Facebook.
You can tweet at us at Nerdarchy.
So until next time.
Stay nerdy.